All right. So we're starting chapter 3. Chapter 3 deals with decimals and equations. So we're going to be starting with doing rounding and estimating. All right, then we're going to be talking about, don't do that yet, please. I'm talking. Thank you. Then we're going to dive into mean, median, and mode. And then we're going to be using formulas. And then we're going to dive back into solving equations like we have been, but now they'll have decimals in them later in the chapter. And then we're going to be using the metric system. So it's kind of an overview of what we're doing in the third chapter. All right, so let's dive first into section 1. All right, Alex, go ahead if you need to. Alex, would you do me a favor? See the book up on the board? Will you move it over and just erase where it says book 13? Thank you, sweetheart. All right, so we are starting chapter 3, section 1. And this is rounding and estimating. Now, I know you guys did some of this last year. All right, and in past years, I have decided not to do this. But I do feel it is a skill that's important to have, and I do feel there's an importance to reminding you and kind of reviewing how to do this. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is rounding. Well, first of all, we need to talk about decimal places. Okay, so I want you guys to write this number. Give yourself some room, the decimal places and place values. All right, so give yourself some room around this number. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 0.4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. What place value is that 1 in? What place value is that 1 in? Yeah? Hundreds. All right. Hundreds. Hundreds. What place value is that 2 in? Kira? All right, so they are in the tens. That one's in the tens. How about the 3? What place value is the 3 in? Mateo? That's in the ones. All right, so now let's go on the other side of the decimal point. What place value is the 4 in? What place value is the 4 in? Mia? Nope, not hundredths. Alex? Tenths with a TH. TENTHS. Tenths. How about that 5? What place value is that 5 in? Hundredths. 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 How about that 6? What place value is that 6 in? Come on, you guys. More than just Alex and Mateo and me are going to tell me this. What place value is that 6 in? Pierre? Thousandths. Yep, thousandths. So 1,000 with a THS on the end. How about that 7? What place value is that 7 in? Come on, you guys can see a pattern going on here. Mateo? Excellent. That's the 10,000ths. How about that 8? That's a tough one. Remember, add a 0 to 10,000. Add a 0 to the 10,000. Kira? Yep, that's the 100,000ths. Chances are we're not getting that small, but you can see how the different place values. It's really important that you understand and you know what the different place values are. So when you're given a direction to round a number to the nearest tenth, you know what digit is in that tenths place. All right, so let's talk about rounding. I'm hoping this is a review for you guys, and this is super easy. All right, so what does rounding mean? What does rounding mean in your mind? What does rounding mean? Aaron? In a specific place value, right? Okay, so going up or down in the number in a specific place value. What am I using to determine whether I go up or I go down? What am I using to determine whether I go up or I go down? Teo? If what is 5? What number? So in your mind, as you're trying to decide something, I could write an example for you down here. But I want you to come up with your own example in your brain to kind of help you. You're doing a great job. To help you, all of you, figure out how you might explain this more clearly. So think of an example in your head of a number that you're trying to round to whatever place value, and tell me how you round it. Mateo is absolutely correct, but I need more details in that. Michaela? Yes, so they're going to tell you what place value to round to. Okay? So if I say round to the tenths, what are you going to do? If I'm rounding a number to the tenths, think about what Mateo said, because he's absolutely right in the process. He just forgot to include one thing in that. If I'm rounding a number to the nearest tenth, what am I going to do? Layla? Not the tenths place. If I'm rounding to the tenths place. No. If I'm rounding a number to the nearest tenth, what am I looking at? You two are right, but I need to be clear in not writing what you're looking at. If I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, what digit am I looking at to make that assessment? Kira? The hundreds. All right, so what we have to do is we must look at the digit in the place value one place lower than what we want to round to. All right, and let's talk about the rules. And I am going to do an example because it's much easier to do when we have an example. So let's say I have 2.356. Let's just do 2.35. And I want to round to the nearest tenth. What digit is in my tenths place here? Dominic, what digit is in my tenths place? The 3. So what digit am I looking at to decide what to round the 3 to? Alex? What digit? The 5. I need to look at that 5. So this is the number I'm using to assess. Use to assess. So, when I'm looking at that 5 or more, raise the score. Do you guys remember that? 5 or more, raise the score. which means change the 3 to a 4. 4 or less, what is that one? Christiana? Yep, let it rest. So that means that we're going to leave the 3 as is. Do you guys remember that? How many of you guys remember that? All right, so I'm going to give you a couple numbers that I want you guys to round. So whatever place value we want to round to, we always have to look at the number one place value lower than that and use one of these two rules. Who needs to see what's up there? All right, equal. All right, I'm going to put a couple of them on there. I want you to round this, and then we're going to move on. Because I feel like rounding is the easiest of them all. All right, so I want to round the following numbers to the indicated place value. All right, so we're going to do 7,098.56, and we want to go to the tenths. All right, I'm going to write a couple more of them up there. Go ahead and get going. That's a 6. It's an ugly 6, but it's a 6. All right, there you go, all 4 of those. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. When you're done, check what people buy you. See if you guys got it right. You can talk to Emerson. So check with you by you, see if you guys got the same thing. Alrighty. Okay, let's do that first one. Alright, I'm rounding the nearest tenths. What digit right now is in my tenths place? Come on. What digit right now is in my tenths place? Audrey? The 5. So what should I round this number to if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth? Give me the number, dude. 7,000. I know what she means. I want her to give me the number. Tell me the number. 0.6, not 66, 0.6. So remember, we drop off the last digit and we just round to that nearest tenth. Excellent. All right, somebody do the second one for me. What digit is in my thousandths? And then tell me what the new number is rounded. Pierre? Excellent. So this is my thousandths, right? I'm rounding to that, aren't I? Okay, so tell me what to write. That it's not what you said, because what you said is exactly what's up there. If we're rounding the nearest thousands, everything beyond the thousands drops. Read this number, dude. 0.943. Remember, drop off whatever digits are after it once we've made the assessment. So you drop those off. Anything after it. All right, how about number 3? What number is in my hundredths, and what would that round to? Frankie? What number's in my hundredths and number 3, and tell me what I'm going to round that number to. What digit is in my hundredths? All right, what's my new number? Excellent. And then the 5 and the 3 at the end get dropped off. All right, I want to go to the ones here on that last one. What digit right now is in my ones, and somebody round to the nearest 1? Vincent? Excellent. And what's that rounded number going to be? 1. Everything else gets dropped off. How many of you guys are cool with this? Okay, questions on this process? Alex? Yes, because what digit is the 0 in? So if I wrote this, 7,000, it's a great question, 7,098.60. Is this rounding to the nearest tenth? Pardon me? No, because I have a digit in the hundredths place. I don't want that. What that means to me, Dominic, is that you rounded to the nearest hundredth. Right? Because that number could have been like 7,098.61 or 60602, right? And if you wrote 0.60, that means you round to the nearest hundredth. So whatever place value we're rounding to, that is the last digit of the number that you're going to have. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, let's talk about estimating using rounding. All right, so rounding to estimate. How many of you guys go shopping? Okay, whether it's for clothes, whether it's for snacks or food if you go with your parents. But let's say you guys are going for clothes, all right, or Christmas gifts. Let's do that. You guys are going for Christmas gifts. You guys, eyes over here. How many of you guys buy Christmas gifts for your siblings or your friends or your cousins or your mom and dad, right? Okay, so you have a budget. Maybe you've got $100 to spend. Whatever that is, okay? Whether you're online doing this or you're in a store doing this, when you're looking to see what you can buy, how many of you in your head, you're like, okay, the socks that I want to buy my brother are, $5.56. I'm going to be like, okay, that's about $6. Okay, the book that I want to buy my mom, that's $14 and 23 cents. It's about $14. How many of you guys do that? And you kind of get a general idea. That's rounding. What you're doing is you're rounding those numbers in your head to get an estimate of what your amount you're going to spend is. All right, that's rounding. That's what I want to do. All right. So when we're rounding, what we're doing is we first of all we round to make the estimate math easier. That's the first thing. All right, so we want to try and do some of it mental math if we can. All right, and we round each number to the same place value. All right, so what we're looking to do is we're looking to find an approximate estimate of the final value. So let's talk about how we would round. So if my actual is $126, what is that close to, where we can round it and use easy mental math with that number to get an estimate? Kira? Yeah, that's about 130. All right, so what this means is 126 is approximately equal to 130. Now it's a little over, but it's an approximate. All right, so let's talk about when we can use approximations and when we think that it's reasonable or not reasonable, all right? Because, you know, we might feel that it's more reasonable to round this down to 125. Maybe that's more reasonable because it's a little closer. All right, but we've got to figure out how we want to do that. All right, so let's talk about when we are adding. Let's talk about when we're adding. All right, so what we want to do is we want to round to the nearest tens usually. That makes for the easier math. All right, so let's do an example. So if I say I want to add 135.95, so $135.95, $15.90, and $24.05. All right, so let's take a look at this. First of all, we're going to line this up vertically in the actual numbers. Remember, line up those decimal places. All right, be smart what you round to. What is 135.95 close to in the nearest tens? Alex? Tens. How about 140? Is that, wait. How about 1590? What nearest tens is that close to? Kira? 20. God bless you. How about 24.05? What is that one close to? Angela? Yeah, I would go down. Do you notice that these two, one went up and the other went down? Can you see that if one went up and the other went down, they probably kind of canceled out their, like if both of these went up, we'd be much over, wouldn't we? How many of you guys can see that? If we rounded 1590 to 20 and $24 to 30, we'd be a lot higher, wouldn't we? But they kind of counterbalance each other. Can you guys see that? So that's what I want you to make a consideration of. This 24 is below 25, so round it down. This 15 is over 15, so round it up. That's kind of what I want you guys thinking about. All right, so now this is a much easier mental math problem. All right, that's 0, that's 8, that's 180. Do the actual. So here is my estimate. I want you to do the actual so you can compare them. So I want you to do the actual. So add these actual. Here is our actual. I want you to add those to compare them to what we actually got to see if it's a reasonable estimate. So add these all up. I think I got 175.90. How many of you guys got that? All right, so this is what we are comparing. I'm going to write reasonable with a question mark. How many of you guys feel that that's a reasonable amount? I think that's reasonable. All right, what I want you guys to do is, I want you guys to do the same thing, but I want you to change this, instead of 20, round it to 30. And let's see if we can compare that and see why we rounded one up and rounded one down. So let's do the same thing. And I'm going to say yes to this. And I want to say, okay, so that's 135.95. We rounded that to 140. So let's round each of them up. And now, find out what your estimate would be here. I'm going to put a little circuit here. We rounded both up. So that's 0, 6, that's 9, 190. And we're comparing that to 175.90. And put a little question mark. And I'm going to write reasonable, because I want to come up with a good direction for you when you're rounding. So I rounded both of these up. Is that reasonable? Is $75.90 is estimated to $90? Do you think that's reasonable? Meaning, is that close enough? Is that a good estimate, Alex? No, why? Yeah, like that. I don't think that's not really all that close. How many of you guys agree with that? I'm going to write no. Estimate is too high. So let's compare what we did here. So I'm going to go back up here, and this is yes. Estimate is very close. So let's talk about the differences. All right, so let's look at our decision-making process. So let's talk about our decision-making process. If you have not been here for notes, I need you guys to leave maybe 2 pages and just catch up with where we are. So 2 blank pages and just start with where we are right now, please. So our decision-making process. All right, so we rounded to nearest tens. So when we had 135.95, we went up to 140. And I'm going to write here, because 135.95 is over 135. So I want this to kind of be your guidelines. When we had 15.90, what did we round that to? In the one that it was a reasonable estimate, what did we round 15.90 to? Come on, Mia. 20. Why? Why did I round 15.90 to 20? Think about my reason for that first one. Why did I round that 15.90 to 20? Come on, you guys. use what I wrote here at 135.95. Why I rounded that to 140. Use it as your guide. Why did Mia round that to 20? Kira? Excellent. Because 15.90 is higher than 15. All right. Our last one was that 24.05. What did we round that one to in our reasonable estimate? Emerson? 20. Why did I round that down, Emerson? Yeah, so it's less than that 25, right? Yeah, because it's less than the 25. So that 5 mark, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, that 5 really is our dividing of whether we go up or we go down. Does that make sense to you guys? If you go down too much, you're going to be off. So if that was 14.9, I may have rounded this down to 10, and that might be too low. So if you're rounding all of them down, that might go too low. So you may have to round one up. Does that make sense to you guys if you're rounding too many down? Does that make sense? Like, you guys have to be smart about this. If you end up rounding all 3 of these down because of just the numbers, you're going to be too far low. So you do have to consider, okay, I rounded 2 of them up, rounding 1 of them down because it was so close to that 5 mark, that's going to work, right? If you round all of them up, you're going to get too high. So use your decision making, okay? All right, I'm going to say 24.05 because it is below 25. All right, let me give you guys a couple that I want you to round, that I want you to estimate. So you round first and then estimate. You have to plug it in, sweetheart. For some reason, it's stuck on. So we just have to plug it in to use it. And then unplug it when you're done, please. Come on, just unplug it. Thank you. Estimate the sum. I want you to decide if it is reasonable, which means you're going to show the original and see if it's reasonable. All right, so I have 355.302 plus 204.889. Go ahead. Use the process that we just did previously, please. What are you going to round 355.3022 to? Mateo? Excellent. What are you going to round the second one to, Mateo? Excellent. I think 560.191 was my actual. So, reasonable? Yeah, I'd say so, right? Reasonable. I'll put an exclamation mark. All right, let's talk about subtracting. All right, so let's say we're going to use the same thought process as adding. All right, so let's do 464.90 and I want to subtract off at 125.73. All right, remember, line them up vertically with the bigger one on the top. What should I estimate 464.90 to? Alex? Yeah, I would do 460. How about 125.73? Jack? Excellent. So I have 330. All right, let's do the original, just to compare it, to make sure that you like what you see. I got 339.17. Do you guys think that's reasonable? I mean, it's close. It's not as close as the adding, is it? All right, but I think we have to be okay with this. I would say this is close. So reasonable. It's really important that you focus on. We don't want to round too many of them up or round too many of them down when adding or subtracting. Do not want to round too many of the numbers up or down. We need to balance the changes. Does that make sense to you guys? Balancing the changes? Do you guys understand what I mean by that? Right? So if we have three numbers, we don't want to round them all up. You know, be careful. Okay, let's talk about something called front-end estimating. Do you guys remember doing front-end estimating last year at all? I'm pretty sure you guys did. So let's talk about front-end estimating. It's easier than it sounds. I'm going to do an example for you with steps. I think this is the easiest way to do it. So let's say that I want to add, first of all, it's for adding only. It's not for subtracting. It's for adding only, all right, which makes it easier. Let's say that I want to add $2.71. Remember, your number, your dollar sign goes before your number. $1.73 and $1.10. Okay, first of all, what you're going to do, I'm going to do the steps off to the right here. First thing you do is you're going to set up vertically. All right, so I have 2.71, 1.73 plus 1.10. You can do them all at the same time. So there is step one. Step two, I'll move that arrow a little bit. I'm going to put a little 1 here to show step one. Step two, add the whole numbers. All right, I'm going to put a little star by this. I'm going to do this in pink. The whole numbers are those ones, and the ones. If there are tens, anything before to the left of the decimal. These are numbers to left of decimal. What is 2 plus 1 plus 1? What is 2 plus 1 plus 1, Romano? 4. Okay, so I did that part. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to round the numbers after the decimal to nearest tenths. Then add them. All right, so what is 0.71 to the nearest tenths? I'm going to do this in green so you can see this. What is 0.71 to the nearest tenths? Kira? 0.7? 0.7, right? How about 0.73? What is that to the nearest tenth? What is 0.73 to the nearest tenth? Come on, you guys. Michaela. 0.7. well, this is 0.1, because it just is 0.1. Now add these. So 0.7 plus 0.7 is 1.4, plus 1 is 1.41. Oh, no. Hang on. La. Get rid of that. 1.5. So now you're going to add these together. And my estimate is going to be 5.5. You guys good with that? All right, let me show you one more. All right, so I want you to add 1.07, 2.49, and 7.40 using front-end estimating. All right, what's the first step I'm going to do here? In my front-end estimating, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Thank you, Mateo. Alex? Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Excuse me? So what are my whole numbers? What do they add to? 10. All right, Jack, now what? So tell me what you're going to round 0.49 to. Excellent. How about 0.07? Excellent. How about 0.40? So 0.4. Okay, when I add these together, what do I get? Not 10. 1. I get 1.0. How many of you guys see I get 1.0? All right, now, what is my estimate check? 11. What do you guys think? Okay, I have one thing that you have to do tonight before you start your homework. I want you're all going to do this and you are getting graded. This is part of your homework. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to, page 129, I want you to take notes on clustering. This is example number 4. I want you to do that in your homework spiral before you start your homework. Do you guys understand? There's going to be a time in your life where you have to teach yourself how to do something. I like giving you these opportunities when I need to of you teaching yourself a concept. I obviously will go over with you tomorrow in class, but I want you to teach yourself this. Do you guys understand? Yes. I know that, Mateo, come on. I need you to think. Tomorrow just means the next time I'm going to see you, right? Okay. Get going.